Hey, good evening, everyone. It's really nice to see you guys turning up on a Sunday evening so that you can go ahead and get to know those things that made Komal Agarwal tick, those things that made her uh, comfortable enough, confident enough, capable enough to get into IIM Lucknow and then succeed even thereafter. So that's it. So just a couple of quick things about Komal. She is a pass out from IIM Lucknow. She's been working for a good 5 years. And to those of us who constantly keep on talking about, yaar, mere ko engineer hona chahiye tha, nahi to lete nahi. She's actually done her graduation in biology. And apart from that, there are a lot of other things that once you talk to her, you'll get to know. So very, very, very warm welcome, Komal. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Vikrant, for a warm welcome. I am doing fine, and thank you everyone for joining. I just want to send a lot of love and warm wishes given the COVID environment. I hope that you are taking the necessary precautions and are keeping safe and taking care of your family.
True. Yeah, let's just everyone around us stays safe. Although I haven't met anybody who does not know somebody who's COVID positive of late. So things are a lot scarier in that sense. But I think we'll just make do with that. Yeah,
Sure.
that's the best that we can do. So Komal, why don't you tell us a little more about yourself? Maybe we can dive into your schooling first.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Kanpur, and those of you are not familiar, it's a town in UP. And my schooling is from Mariampur School in Kanpur. So that I have done my BSc in biology from GBS Kanpur. It's a college within Kanpur. And then after that, I moved to IIM Lucknow. So that's a part of my journey. Other than that, I have been into Deloitte since 2016. I was an intern with them in 2015 and then got a pre-placement offer. I was lucky enough. And since then, I've been working with them in their strategy and ops consulting side, helping their financial services clients, such as in banking, in asset management, to help them in bringing, operational resiliency or, bringing benefits in their supply chain.
Okay, terrific. So for those of us who do not know, pre-placement offer or a PPO is when you work with an organization and they love your work. And then they feel कि नहीं नहीं यार इसे तो चाहिए तो इसको ऑफर देके छोड़ देते हैं, which although Komal may make it sound ordinary, but then she must have done really well in order to get that PPO from Deloitte, which is anyway a highly sought after organization. Oh, and then we have Salman Khan in the comment box. Huh? He's a regular student. I do keep meeting him on these sessions. And well, Salman, is that your actual name or that's a screen name that you've picked up? Huh? Batana saath mein mere ko. So, Komal, have you been a good student from the beginning, back in the school days?
To be honest, yeah, my schooling journey has been good. I was a fairly sharp student. I think just because you asked this story, in 5th or 6th standard, there was this one day when I came back and my mom asked me, how was your exam? And I told her कि मुझे बस एक number का नहीं आता था. And she was furious. She was like, how can you say that exam अच्छा हुआ but एक number का नहीं आता? And that was a turning point in my life. And after that, I was doing well in school. That was good. But yeah, later on, like in every household, especially in a city like Kanpur, which is a fairly competitive market, every family wants their kids to be either engineers or doctors. So nobody thinks of commerce as an initial pick. So yeah, my parents thought, okay, she will be taking bio and will become a doctor. My elder brother had taken engineering subjects and he was pursuing JEE. So that's how it all started. But later on, I think it was my first year when I took a drop after 12th and then I realized that I wanted to do an MBA. It was a tough call. It's very tough convincing my parents, to be honest. When my parents were out for vacation for 5 days, when I came back, Vikrant, 2 दिन घर पे खाना नहीं बना, and my dad told me like, somebody has pushed me from the terrace. You're changing your entire direction of the career, right? But that was a call that I took. My brother was already in IIT Kanpur, so guidance thi mere paas, and we took that call, and that's how my journey for MBA preparation started.
Okay. In fact, Gaurav has a question here, and Gaurav is is basically asking if a gap year will have some impact in finally getting selected in the college.
Everything you have done in life impacts definitely when you are having a conversation in an interview. The interviewer is going to ask you, "Ki aapne gap kyun liya," right? But you should have reasons. You should understand why you took that gap, and and if it was a mistake, you should be enough to accept it. Say that you didn't know at that point in time, and what happened, what was the thought process behind. So basically, आपके decisions के पीछे कारण क्या है, you have to talk about that, and then it doesn't matter a lot.
Okay. Did you have anybody in your batch who dropped in order to prepare and then got through?
Yeah, there were a lot of people who do that.
Okay, so Gaurav, I think that answers it very holistically. Yeah? At the end of the day, it is how you go on and sell it. And then, you see, when, I come from an era when the level of competition for these B school exams was not very high. But now the level of competition has gone up. The level of difficulty has also gone up. But progressively, we see a higher number of people who drop. I would not generally use the word drop, because everything that you do, you go on to learn something or the other. Yeah. But then there are times when you need to prioritize your preparation over everything else. And if you can convince them that yes, for you it had become an either or situation, then your chances are going to be fairly bright. So, but Komal, going back to that, यार मतलब तेरे parents तो बिल्कुल वो फिल्मी वाली feel आ रही है, हाँ? वो एक नंबर कम कैसे रहा, and then terrace.
They were very aggressive. So my parents, dad was in Punjab National Bank. He was a government servant, and my mom was a homemaker. And they had told us clearly कि बेटा पढ़ाई कर लो. This is the easiest shortcut that you can succeed in life. Otherwise, आलू बेचने पड़ेंगे. And my brother, he cracked IIT. He got an AIR 304. He got AIR 1 in AIEEE. So he did very well, and I was like somewhere in the middle, because for me success came a little later after graduation. So even I was thinking, okay, I don't have a plan B. I have to just get through it. So that was a motivation that kept me on, and I wanted to prove myself.
So can you just take us through this particular part once again, when you say that the success came a little while later? So what does that mean?
Yeah, because what happens when your batchmates, they pass out of 12th standard, they start cracking in good colleges, maybe whether it is engineering or medicine, right? If you are aiming for, say, an MBA through a premium institute, you have to pick up commerce, right? And maybe it's one of the options. You can definitely pick up other subjects, but you'll have to undergo a graduation phase to basically land up for a CAT exam, right? And maybe crack into one of the IIMs.
Absolutely.
So, what I'm saying, like my college undergrad was super ordinary, and I kept hearing from uncles and aunts, what's happening with your career, right? So that happens, but it's a part of the journey. And once you are able to do what you have aimed for, everything's.
Yeah, I think I am from a fairly small town, so I know how relatives would keep asking. In fact, that'd be a mild word, pestering your parents, asking about "Aur bachcha kya kar raha hai aajkal," and then they keep telling them stories of a lot of other achievers to create that extra pressure. I think there are a lot of people in the chat who kind of have questions linked to the role of academics and their final selection, and the role of profile and the final selection, and how to improve the profile bit in particular. So would you like to talk about those things?
Yeah, sure. So profile is very important, but guys, understand this, आप जिस age में हैं, जो बीत चुका है वो बीत चुका है. If it's a 5th standard student, I'll say, okay, participate in Olympiads, go to all the competitions, the best student you can be in every area, and get all those CV points, make a good profile, a solid profile. But whatever has happened has happened. From now on, you have to understand if you're serious about cracking CAT and strengthening your profile, do better with your scores, right? And then build up your personality. When I say build up your personality, develop some hobby, see what interests you. CAT एक ऐसा एग्जाम है जो आपको किसी एक डायरेक्शन में फोर्स नहीं करता है कि आपको यही रटना है. Whatever you like, be passionate about it and start working towards it. उस area में आप community से interact करिए. These days you have social media groups. You can have conversations with international counterparts, and in that particular field, whether it's music, dance, try to excel. It's going to help your profile become stronger and stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So basically, it is about engaging in more things, but not just for the sake of engaging. Do them genuinely in order to learn from them as well. So it's not about just ticking a box, right? That I used to look at these SATs, SAT admission process once upon a time long ago, and they have this checklist. Acha ek instrument bajana aata hai ki nahi aata hai?
No, that's not going to happen.
It's not about ticking all the boxes. It's about genuinely going out and doing more in areas that you're passionate about.
Yes, because the depth of that passion is being measured, because that explains your personality. ऐसा भी हो सकता है that you walk into an interview and वो एक line पकड़ के, like you participated in, say, a dance competition in DID, or you had a rank, पूरा interview सिर्फ उस पे ही हो सकता है. So you have to be passionate and try not to fake it, because it's everybody can make it up what's happening.
Okay, we also have a very specific question from Abhijit, which is kind of linked to this theme. Abhijit says, does the work experience of a year and a half going to help in converting the calls? And he also has a 2-year gap between 12th and his BTech, which I think is partly answered, Abhijit, that gap at the end of the day you need to justify. But could you talk more about the role of work experience and if that helps?
Yeah, so WorkX is also something. See, if it is measured in a scorecard, and if say it's a cutoff of 2 years, you will lose those marks definitely, right? But आपको कोई रोक नहीं रहा है कि इंटरव्यू में जाके आप उसके बारे में बात ना करें. If it's a good experience, it's going to give you a lot of say merit or brownie points when you talk to an interviewer and you are making sense, right? So that experience, nobody is going to take that away from you. But yeah, it is relevant. Whatever you have worked, it gives you an industry exposure, and somewhere or the other, once you crack an IIM as well, in your summer internship interview, in your final placement interview, you will have a talking opportunity about it. If it's good experience for you, you will always make that a talking point, and it will give you additional marks to move to the next phase.
Absolutely. Then let's just take a couple of shortish questions. Deepak has, is it okay to prepare for MBA CET only? I think Deepak, probably you're talking about Maharashtra CET. And if that is the case, I mean, see, I am of the opinion that once you start your preparation, you should apply to as many colleges as possible. Why would you target and prepare for only one exam? I mean, just broaden it up. And Rohit Sharma, what should I do to crack the CAT? Because I want to, but I'm not able to focus. Okay, a shameless plug here, Rohit. I took a session called a goal setting session on our app. You should find the videos there. I took it a couple of weeks ago. So go ahead, look for it once. That will help. And let's also hear from Komal what she used to do to remain focused. So Komal, anything that you would like to contribute to this?
Yeah, because you've asked this, and I'll take 1 minute to explain. I am from Kanpur. Most of my society friends who were there around got married by the time they were graduated. Maybe I was the first girl in that colony who started driving a car, right? So finding out a motivation in such an environment is a little difficult. How we did it was, and that's my story, I'm not saying that you do it. I had this Chak De title track as my alarm, and whenever it used to play at 4:30, uske baad main soi nahi paati thi. And then I had built this huge wall in my room where I used to put up all the pictures of all the motivational speakers, people, leaders I idolize, and I just went into that bubble, and I thought that there is no other option than for me but to crack it, right? So you have to constantly create that motivation for yourself and focus. Then only it's going to happen. If you think that हमसे नहीं हो पाएगा, and there are days when you get less scores in one of your mock tests and all, you feel bad, but think about it that in Kanpur they used to say कि ये एक ही जरिया है आपके पाप धोने का. It's not true, but that's how people believe.
And that's how we look at it. Absolutely true.
So if you believe in that, you are going to crack it, right? You should think of it as the only door to your success, and then you'll be able to nail it.
Absolutely, absolutely. But होता है यार ये, इनफैक्ट पहले भी हम लोग बात कर रहे थे ना, पिछला जो प्रोफाइल है, whatever you have in your CVs that you've done so far, if it's not great, I think maybe we can call it purane paap. And then, but yes, this is true that once you make it to an IIM, it's like Ganga Snan indeed. All those who look down on you, they suddenly start looking up to you and they're like, Acha, and then they come to you for tips, etc. Anybody else who did not believe in you at all and showed it to, and then you eventually made it to an IIM, then how did you go and deal with that person? Did you rub it in or what?
Nothing, not specific, Vikrant, but what happened was when you are from small town, even your kids studying in a big city is a big thing. So whenever you'll meet somebody in a wedding or social setting, हमारा लड़का तो Delhi में पढ़ रहा है, what are you doing? Like all those kind of things I would hear. But I had developed a moti chamdi and I never listened to any of these things. And my relatives who felt like my brother was like the most well-performing guy in the family, they all of them changed their lens, and when I cracked, and they were like, okay, fine, we can call her also for advice for our kids. So that happened. Yeah.
Right. Until then, they used to kind of think of you as a black sheep. It puts a lot of pressure when you're
some people did, especially there's a women angle to it also. I felt that in if you go to say tier 2, tier 3 cities, people don't really expect, like some men, middle-aged men, they won't think, okay, she's a 21, 22-year-old and I should talk to her for any guidance, and all. So that angle is also there. But once you crack an IIM, you start getting into business, you talk sense, people start listening.
Right. Okay, Akshay has a very specific question. He says that he's left his job recently, which basically means that it's around 1 year of gap. And he is asking how he can best fill that gap. He's inclined towards finance. So should he focus on something academic and acquire knowledge, or is there anything else which is going to be a better way for him?
So depends what is that gap taken for. If that's only for CAT preparation, then you have to understand what are your interest areas. Say, for example, you said finance, like CFA can be one thing, right? You can, fill up those forms and start preparing, because that's going to add value to you. Second, these days we see a lot of people coming up with internship experiences of startups, and most of them also write like their co-founders, they do some small things, and an opportunity like COVID, like you can do a lot of things, and it can be a spike in your CV and you can talk about that as well. So yeah, आप देखो आपको किस चीज में interest है. It can be hobby, it can be certifications, it can be any work experience that you can create for yourself. All three are going to help.
Okay. Terrific.
And you can do one more thing, freelancing projects also online. You can, offer your services and pick up a couple of them, and then you can use them as well.
Oh, I'm really amazed at such participation. A lot of questions. Keep asking those questions. And if you're new here, please don't forget to share this video with your friends or in the groups that you're a part of, and do subscribe to the channel. We keep on bringing a lot of live sessions every day for you. And subscribing along with the bell icon ensures that you get to know every single time when we start. And we are also there on Telegram. If you want extra links, PDFs, quizzes, or just talk to the faculty members more often, do consider joining that too. I'd request my team members to share the link of the Telegram group in the comment box down below as well. And then there are a lot of people who have similar themes. For example, now Nishu Rani asks that I do not have any work experience. How can I build my profile to get selected in an IIM? And she is doing her BBA or has done her BBA. So what would your suggestion to her be, Komal?
When you have not, work experience is just a box in your CV. So if your profile is your complete CV, it's just one box. If you just eliminate that, what else you have? You have your academic scores. You have your hobbies, the competitions you've participated in, and in case you have done any other projects like online projects, you have done any internships, you can do all those kind of things and make your profile rich. Another thing I would want, like I can give my example. When I didn't have WorkX and I got a call from my Bangalore then. At that point in time, my entire interview was based on one business idea that I had. It was just an idea and I was very passionate about it for K-12 schooling. And puri us pe hi baat hui because I didn't have anything else in my CV other than my scores. So even your ideas, your work reflects. So think about what you want to do in future. Think if there are any initiatives that you can pick up as of today and which can add more weight to your profile. You can also extend your services to an NGO. Even that's a very good thing to have these days in your profile. So think about these options and get going.
Surya Teja, that's an easy question to answer. And the answer is yes. He's saying this is doing a state government job considered a job experience? Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Anything that you've done. So technically, anything that you do after graduation full-time and you're paid for is work experience. And then what you get from that experience, what you learned, the kind of achievements that you had, they are obviously going to count. But the simple answer is yes. My Sparsh is definitely very amazed by your answer, huh? Since you're not able to see the chat today, I'm just pitching in. And for that matter, Nishu is now telling us that she has 4 internships as well. And I don't know why that sounds like a humble brag because she's added, is that enough? हाँ निशु तेरा मैसेज पढ़ के आधे लोग रोने लग जाएंगे यहाँ पे 4 internships graduation में. People would not even probably have 2, a lot of them. So I think that's actually amazing. And Abhijit, yes, Abhijit has said that he's started his startup. So should I talk about that in the interview? Komal, if you'd like to take it up.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if the question is starting your startup helps, definitely it does. I have done a couple of startups in my career as well. Even in IIM Lucknow, I did. Actually, we got the award for the best startup on campus. So वो help करता है definitely because it shows that you have fire inside you to do something, right? And you're passionate about it. Secondly, it gives you talking points in your interview. You are able to discuss something जो आपको in and out पता है, शायद interviewer से भी ज़्यादा पता है, right? So it brings that messaging is very clear that okay, and it connects all your whys. Why MBA? Because I want to do business and see this is what I'm doing. I want to bring this change. So all in all, it is very useful. But yes, they don't fake it because every CV I see, like when I used to review CVs in IIM Lucknow, 80% of them, as fresh batches were coming, used to have that box of startup experience. But you can make out when, as an interviewer, you are just doing mock interviews. You can see कि भाई किसने काम किया है or who has not done it. So be honest there.
Terrific. Okay, Rohit Sharma, I missed your earlier question. Yaar. He asked whether I should go in for a regular MBA right now, or should I go out, work for a couple of years, and then do an executive MBA? So just to add to it, Rohit, I mean, 2 years and then executive MBA, your options are going to be very limited. Then you're talking about 4 to 5 years of work experience and then executive MBA. But if we were to compare one of these 2 routes, an executive MBA route where you work and then go in, or a regular MBA right now, What would you prefer, Komal?
Vikrant, that's a very personal call, to be honest. To each his own. I'll say, at least मेरे friends में जितने लोगों ने executive किया है, they didn't choose it from the very beginning. It was like they already started gaining experience and 5-6 साल का experience हो जाता है, then they feel like, now a regular MBA doesn't make sense for me and I should do an executive one. Otherwise, if people early on, they have a choice, they pick up 2 years MBA, they target it so that it's a great learning. I can give you in writing that it's the best time of your life that you'll have. So it's not something. I know a lot of people calculated that उसकी 2 साल job छोड़ा, उतने पैसे गए, फिर fees भी गई, तो उतना नुकसान हुआ. But you cannot really weigh it, with the education, the learning, and the connects that you build.
Okay. So just to add a little more to it, see, basically, if you are sure that you want to get into management, I think it's a good idea to at least acquire the credentials straight away and then get into it. And what I have seen with a lot of people who do executive MBAs is that they work with an organization and then they realize that they're not able to grow further. And then they do an executive MBA and then they're able to make that leap mostly within that organization. But an executive MBA is not as effective when it comes to changing your industry as a regular MBA is. So a regular MBA can allow you to change your industry. It can allow you to change your level within an organization or within a sector. But the executive MBA will not create those new opportunities for you. Plus, I think the kind of immersive experience that you have in a full-time 2-year residential course, that's a different thing altogether. You'd create memories that will live with you for a long, long time. So if you're sure, do it right now. Although I've heard some people say that when they work and then join a B school for a 2-year full-time regular course, they tend to learn more because they're able to relate it with their life. The point does have some merit, but then there are pros and cons there. So on the whole,
one more thing, Vikrant, here, if he's very passionate about his current job, he can have a discussion with them to make them sponsor his MBA. 2-year MBA, and then he can go back.
I in fact had a pretty long discussion with an old student of mine where his company actually was willing to sponsor him for an MBA where they'd not only pick up the entire tuition fees, but they'd also continue to give him 50% of his salary in that duration. Oh, Praneeth, if he wants to get into HR, what kind of course he should do? I'm assuming if you're talking about MBA, you pick up electives related to HR. And then, okay, this one is for a change from me. So Riddhima says, I'm from Moga. Riddhima, I am not from Moga. Sonu Sood is from Moga, but I do come from a town pretty close by. It's called Abohar. So whenever I meet somebody from Moga, it looks like somebody from my area. In fact, have you ever seen that? At bus stands, there are people or bus conductors, they name some towns very frequently that you hear so very often. And when you meet somebody from one of those towns, that feels like home. So Moga is that kind from me. So whenever I hear somebody's from Moga, Muksar, Bathinda, Habor, Fazilka, as we call it. So that actually feels like home. Did I ever dream of going to Canada or Canada, as we guys call it, and settle abroad? No. Ridhima, no, not really. Although a lot of my family members are settled at various places, quite a few of them at Canada, but no, I did not really think of that. And then Sudeshna has a question that I think a lot of people would want to ask: how to build confidence to speak in English? Because Sudeshna is not from an English medium background. She never tried to speak and she has this fear. So Komal, did you go to a school where English was the norm, or?
I went to a school where English was a norm, but
okay.
I was still not that great. Obviously, I'm still learning, but I have been on the journey of how to train yourself for developing communication skills. And इसके लिए मैं आपको एक चीज बोलूँगी. I have trained a lot of people. Start in front of mirror. Start giving 1-minute monologue of say an answer of tell me about yourself. Something, any question, and start speaking. When you do that and you can move that 1 minute to 1.5, 2 minutes slowly. And you can also do one thing, you can record it. And when you hear that again, you see how, what is your body language? What are your gestures? Are you modulating your voice? All those things you can, assess yourself and improve. That's the best way to do. You cannot wait for the last minute कि यार अब interview होगा तो वहाँ अच्छा कर लेंगे. ऐसा नहीं होता है. It's a constant practice that you do, and pick up cues. How in a sentence, what are the words on which I need to stress? What किस पे वजन देना है, किस में वजन नहीं देना है, how to speak that sentence, and try it out. And there are few people in my college जिनकी आवाज भी बहुत पतली थी, बहुत ही धीरे बोलते हैं. I told them, maybe you can try that. गाना गाइए, बहुत जोर की आवाज में गाना गाइए, देखो खोलिए, आपको confidence आएगा. So these are small tips that I can give to help you out.
Oh, just to add to it, just to elaborate, in fact, now when we say voice modulation, our voice has different properties. One of them is volume, the other one is rate of speech. है ना, आप 1 minute में कितने words बोलते हैं.
Yes.
फिर एक चीज होती है pitch. You can speak in a high pitch, you can speak with a low pitch. So these are the 3 basic things that you vary. बीच बीच में थोड़ा तेज बोल लिया, बीच बीच में थोड़ा धीरे बोल लिया, बीच में थोड़ी हाई पिच भी डाली, लो नोट्स भी डाले, फास्ट भी बोला और बीच बीच में थोड़ा पेस को कम भी किया. So it all comes with practice. And then you can also learn some techniques from your friends who are into theater. Right? they are going to be an absolutely amazing resource of vocal exercises. Okay, Praneeth has a question which he asked, which I thought I answered, but let's pick it up once again. What type of MBA program to get into HR job? There are so many categories. So what type of program? Praneeth, it's called MBA in HR. Or you can pick up electives which are related to HR. There are some courses which are out and out HR courses right from the word go. Excel RI has a course which is considered the best in the country. Then you have this college called TISS in Mumbai, which has an amazing course. It's technically called an MA, but it's still amazing. XIMB. But then any great college, any good college, any highly ranked college, all the colleges are good though, will give you an opportunity to pick up those electives. Unless you are going into a specialized course from the word go. Then there is a very specific question concerned with your profile. Is an MBA tough for somebody from a biology background, BSc biology background?
Yeah, so good question. It is difficult indeed. But मैं आंसर देने से पहले आपको बोलूंगी कि इस बारे में आपको नहीं सोचना चाहिए. Think of the nearest milestone. अगर आप ये सोचने लग गए कि आगे कितना डिफिकल्ट होगा और उसके आगे कितना डिफिकल्ट होगा, तो your journey is not, you will not reach there. Now what happens is when you go in for an MBA course, आपके जो toughest subjects are like quant, economics and finance. तो finance के बच्चे finance बोलते हैं हाँ ये तो हमारा covered है, economics के बच्चे बोलते हैं हमारा covered है, और engineers बोलते हैं हमारा quant covered है. But for people like me, nothing is covered, and so we have to, work a little more to crack or sail through those courses, right? And just so that you can relate more, when I started my journey in IIM Lucknow, मुझे बस ये डर लगता था कि मैं fail ना हो जाऊँ. And one of my seniors told me, इतना क्यों डर रही है, fail होने के लिए भी बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. And then somehow I started liking all the subjects, and धीरे-धीरे होता चला कैसे.
That's ये क्या मतलब fail होने में कैसे मेहनत करनी पड़ती है? That's something that
you have to really not listen in the class or really not study at all to flunk.
Okay. Oh, right. We are actually missing out on a lot of questions. Gaurav, can you please send the concern once again? Santosh has a specific question. He has 3 years of experience in IT industry as a developer. Which MBA field is going to be the most suitable for him?
I don't think your past experience should define कि आपको MBA कौन से field में करना है. You think what you want to do in life. आप आज से कुछ समय बाद what kind of job you want to do, and try to pick up those subjects, because this is a turnstile kind of a thing. MBA में आप आके आप switch कर सकते हो industries, अपना job को change कर सकते हो. आप ये मत सोचो कि मेरा 3 साल का relevant experience आगे के 30 साल define करे. Don't do that. So think about the subjects and see what interests you the most.
Oh, Gaurav has his specific question is he's from a village, and once again his concern was about communication skills. But Gaurav, I think Komal has already given a very extensive answer. I'll just recapture. Number one, stand in front of a mirror, start speaking aloud every day, modulate your voice. और यार कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. मैंने अभी भी बताया था ना रिद्धिमा को, यार मैं अबोहर से हूँ, 6 बाय 6 किलोमीटर का शहर है. वहां किसी से जाके अंग्रेजी में बात करोगे ना, सबसे पहले सामने वाला पूछेगा पी क्या आया तू, because why else would you speak in English otherwise? हाँ, तो कर सकते हैं यार, मैं कर सकता हूँ तो कोई भी कर सकता है भाई. तो शुरू कर, रोज उठा.
One more tip, Vikrant, I'll say, जो इन लोग को टैक्टिकली कर सकते हैं, पिक अप योर सिबलिंग्स या फिर कोई दोस्त एंड बस अपना पैक्ट कर लो कि हम आपस में इंग्लिश में ही बात करेंगे बस. That's going to change your life. You'll see in 7 days, 10 days, आपकी इंग्लिश और बेटर होने लगेगी.
Terrific, Komal. I in fact that reminds me, when I moved to Delhi from a fairly small town, I faced the exact same problem, and we actually did the exact same thing. एक घर के पीछे बरसाती, पैसे वैसे ज्यादा नहीं होते थे, बरसाती में हम 3 दोस्त रहते थे, where we decided that we will talk to each other in English. But we had to kind of bring in a constitutional amendment a month later, because there is something that I could convey using a minute, but I did not know how to communicate that in English. So I'm trying and trying and trying. So it has been a good 17 minutes. I'm not able to put my point across. So we finally brought in that amendment that देख 10 मिनट तक कोशिश करेंगे अंग्रेजी में समझाने की, 10 मिनट के बाद भी नहीं समझा पाए तो फिर हिंदी allowed होनी चाहिए, which I thought was sensible. But then that definitely helped us a lot. Yeah. Absolutely. Then, Atish has a question. If you're still tapped into your college network, he's asking, Atish Murthy, owing to the current pandemic, will it affect the placements into high-profile companies after completion of MBA?
To be honest, now I have a lens from a firm side, and from a recruiter's perspective, I know that it's not, especially in consulting, it's not going to affect a lot. There are some companies, and in fact, every industry is trying to modify their staffing models in a hybrid manner. कुछ 4 दिन ऑफिस बुला रहे हैं, कुछ लोग 2 दिन बुला रहे हैं, कुछ लोग बोल रहे हैं कि 50% स्टाफ वर्क फ्रॉम होम करेगा. So in terms of opportunities, you will get enough. आपको एक ही चाहिए, and you will get those, right? In terms of location, yes, they may tell you कि आप अपने hometown से काम करिए. That's fine, but I think you will have ample of opportunities after MBA to get staffed and to work.
So Ayushi has been asking a question for quite a while. Unfortunately, I couldn't look at that earlier. She wants to know about the kind of atmosphere that you face in a group discussion. But did you actually have GDs when you prepared?
Yes, we had.
It's only in the last 3-4 years that we've kind of big time moved into VAT and all. So what was your experience of the GDs?
GD experience, I don't know if you have done it till now. Maybe आपका जब CAT हो जाए उसके बाद you can start that preparation. But it's you're dying to get an opportunity to basically cut through somebody or find, like, as soon as somebody finishes an argument and you just want to bomb in your viewpoint with and uska kuch there are rules like to add more meat to whatever you're saying. You want to say a data point, you want to leverage an example or something like that. So it is very, very competitive, given that आपका time बहुत कम होता है GT में. It's 10-15 minutes and उतने ही participants होते हैं, and you cannot go wrong. Like if somebody is making a point and apne as a professional you just cut that person's argument, or you just don't let somebody speak, or you make a lot of noise, pura ka pura panel hata dete, right? So you have to be very careful. It is definitely competitive, but it's not tough. You can prepare for it once your written exams are over.
And Asha, in fact, Komal is from a BSc Life Sciences background. So if she's done it, I think it's evident that you are eligible for getting into the IIMs if you've done your BSc, right? Any 3-year degree course and you should be all right. Oh, Fahim has a question. Do academics play a big role throughout your management career?
See, it's something you have done in your past. It will play a role in every milestone. आप कोई भी इंटरव्यू देने जाएंगे, थोड़ा तो कोई पूछ ही सकता है, राइट? आप ये नहीं बोल सकते अरे आप ये क्यों पूछ रहे हो, हम तो अभी ये कंपनी से आ गए या ये कॉलेज से आ गए. You can't say that. But gradually, when you have more and more points added, you have your experience added, you have your college में इतने competitions होते हैं, those things are added. You know, it gets diluted. Like nobody, it's the probability of somebody asking you a question from academics decreases. Or
I think once you have worked for around 5, 7, 8 years after your MBA, I think people don't even actually ask you which college you are from half of the time. It's just
yes,
on your CV.
Yes, that's after 5, 6 years.
Job mein kya kiya?
Yes, yes.
So that's probably where the focus will be on. Gaurav has a question related to your alma mater. Investment banker wali job profile actually milti hai kya IIM Lucknow se?
Milti hai. You have to be in top 50 and you'll have to get in the shortlist for day 0.
हाँ, और उसमें भी फ्रंट एंड वाला रोल्स तो थोड़ा कम मिलेंगे unless you have a profile for that, but back end वाले तो मिल ही जाते हैं. But IIM Lucknow has actually done well over the last few years. ऐसा नहीं है. So every college, in fact, if you were to look back, what kind of jobs you think are most frequent at IIM Lucknow?
Yeah, it's a marketing heavy campus, to be honest.
Okay.
Placements, so you know, most of IIMs, they're able to place all their students. We have good options in consulting, finance, marketing. Marketing ka window bahut zyada hota tha, and then startups were coming in. Ola, Uber had started coming in for good aggressive hiring. Amazon, Flipkart, all these kind of profiles, e-commerce profiles were very hot. Even those opportunities are good.
Oh, Jyoti has asked a question related to DILR preparation. Jyoti, let's save some time. At 9 p.m., we'd have Pranav sir coming here at this very channel for a DILR marathon. Why don't you go ahead and ask this question from Pranav at 9? I'm sure he'd not only address it, but he'd also take you through some questions. And then Atish has, does having variation in each semester CGPA score have an impact during personal interview? You faced that where, I mean, my take would be that unless this fluctuation is like very huge, usually not. But Komal, what's your take then?
Semester ka to you will not even put in your CV, right? You will just put your annual marks. But the thing, yes, generally ऐसा होता है कि किसी के 10, 12, 90 है और your undergrad is like 60. So ये क्या हो गया? Like 10. So then you say, okay, you know, I picked up other activities, and you start giving your reasons, and you can justify if you truly were doing other things.
Okay. Asha, I will address this question tomorrow at 12. So why don't you turn up? But otherwise, you seem to be on the right path. Raj is asking which college is the best one for HR?
As I mentioned, Excel, right? That's one of the most renowned campuses in India for HR courses, and definitely there are others. You can, and the ranking changes every year, so just Google it.
Jyoti, we did talk about gap year a little while ago. You can probably review it and then you'd find the answers. So tell us something about your time at IIM Lucknow, Komal. I think a lot of us would be excited to hear about what all happens. Can we talk about things that go beyond academics too?
Yeah, sure. So, Vikrant, what happens is your first term is crazy. I mean, ऐसा होता है कि your classes are सुबह 8 बजे से 4, 4:15 तक classes है, 6 बजे तक classes है, and you're coming to the mess, you're having some tea or something, and then somebody will say, flash mob का competition है, 15 minutes में. See this video, practice it, and then you have to do it. Intersection. Once you do that, you know, 6:30 you perform with your class, and then 7 o'clock you know, oh, placement committee has called you for a meeting, and then you are just grabbing something from the mess as dinner, and then you're running to the placement office.
You were part of the placecom in the college, huh?
No, I was not part of placecom.
Okay.
The placement committee conducts a lot of meetings of the entire
Right.
batch, and if you don't reach in time, they close the door and they fine you $1,000. So so that would happen, and then in the night, initial 1 week is say induction or ragging period. So seniors would call you at 9:30 in the classes, and we would have those sessions till 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and they would give assignments which we have to submit by 6 a.m. deadline. So all those things happen, and see, everybody has a choice. You can be like अपने मेढक वो होता है ना कि अपने कुएं का मेढक टाइप, you can just be in your room and you just study and not participate in the other activities. But that's not why you wanted to do an MBA, right? You want to do other activities as well. So there are so many competitions, case competitions, summer internships ka preparation start ho jata hai. So you get in the drill, and everybody, like we used to carry our toothbrush in a bag. And it was quite amazing time, to be honest, and you build some such great friendships. जो लोग मुझे पूछ रहे हैं कि बायोलॉजी में डिफिकल्ट है, डेफिनेटली आपको ऐसे दोस्त मिलेंगे who will explain you concepts of economics, who will come to you and tell you कि quant मैं करा दूंगा, right? And you will quickly understand things with them, and you will be able to perform. So just immerse yourself. That was a good word used by Vikrant. I mean, that experience is fantastic, and it's an awesome journey.
Oh, Vaishali has a question linked with your background. No? Suggest the branch which is suitable for a BSc Life Science student.
Do you really want to work in that area? If yes, then agribusiness. If you don't want to do it and you want to say do marketing or finance or HR or anything else, you pick up those fields. If you really want to do consulting, then pick up that. I mean, again, like I said, your past should not determine what you want to do in future.
Oh, Gaurav wants to know for how many hours did you use to study when you prepared?
I think all day. I used to sleep.
ले गौरव, तूने मोटिवेशन के लिए
5
पूछा था
hours.
ये, अब तो डीमोटिवेट होकर के जाएगा लगता है. Huh? So what did you say? You just used to sleep, get up and study, huh?
Yeah, I was a teacher also. I was offered a teaching role in some form. So I used to teach students quant, right, for CAT, and then I used to prep a lot. Basically, English में मेरा बहुत time जाता था. There's no shortcut for that preparation. So I made a point to read 100 pages a day minimum.
Wow.
So उसमें चाहे ideally 1 minute लगना चाहिए एक पेज पढ़ने में, but I used to take more time because I was not that prepared for it. But I thought that I did it. And और करना ही क्या होता है यार अंडरग्रेड में, और पढ़ाई के अलावा और क्या काम है किसी को.
So sleep, study, repeat, right? Don't look at the hours. Okay. And Gaurav has another question from the B schools. In MBA placements, what is the eligibility to sit for the interviews of the maximum companies?
Every company has a different criteria, and it could start with a 10-12 cutoff. It could start with a certain type of experience. It could start with a certain type of graduation, right? But all in all, you will understand that आप 80% companies के लिए shortlist हो जाओगे. ऐसा नहीं है कि you will not get the opportunity. It's little daunting. ऐसा लगता है हमको कि IIM की life difficult है. Definitely है, right? When I went to IIM Lucknow and जब CV बनना शुरू हुए विक्रांत, like I used to see in a library, मतलब कोई DU का टॉपर है, कोई 98% लेके आया है 12th में, कुछ I'm SRCC and all those kind of people. I called my dad and I said, Dad, ये difficult लग रहा है, ये कैसे होगा मतलब? And then he said, just one step at a time. Don't think about it too much. right? And we'll just crack. So it just happened. So don't worry about कि आपको कोई shortlist करेगा कि नहीं. आप अच्छा करोगे, आप shortlist हो जाओगे.
Well, in fact, the first semester is difficult. Huh? Well, as it says, there is a friend of mine who joined HUL. Nowadays you call it. So when he joined, his boss told him that the first 6 months are very difficult because you'd have to go to villages, you'd have to understand their entire distribution network. There are going to be days when you'd find yourself on a cycle traveling for 18 kilometers a day, sitting at the back seat, the carrier of a cycle. The first 6 months are tough. And then he asked his boss, say, okay, so what about after those 6 months? And he said that then you get used to it.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing in a B school. The first 6 months are tough. After that, you get used to it. And then everything else in life looks like a party to you thereafter, practically.
Yeah, definitely. It's very interesting. First term, yes, difficult. And पहले टर्म में आपको पढ़ाई या रिज्यूमे जगाएगा 5 बजे तक, उसके बाद आप खुद ही नहीं सोगे. You will watch series, you will spend time with your friends, but you will not sleep before 4 or 5.
Oh, Prithvi has a nice question. Do IIMs help to build a person as an entrepreneur?
Yes and no. See, one campus, एक बैच में 400-500 लोग होते हैं, right? Your job is to find the like-minded people. अगर आप दिल से एक entrepreneur हो, you will get attracted to people who are like that, who are enterprising, who will give you, जब आप वो discussions करते हो नए-नए business ideas को लेके रोज, who give you that kind of support, those who challenge you. So if you are on the lookout for such people, such groups, it is definitely going to hone your skills and will help you build that network जो शायद आपको MBA के बाद भी आप कोई business करो उनके साथ. But अगर आप सिर्फ बोलने के लिए बोल रहे हो that you want to do business or be an entrepreneur, but you are not actively thinking about it, it may not happen.
My experience is that a B school does not make you an entrepreneur in the sense that it does not give you the heart of an entrepreneur, right? So if you want to start a business, you can start a business even today, but the advantage of an MBA will be that it will tell you how to make your business scalable. It can teach you how to make it profitable. It does not help you in starting a business. That is something that has to be within you. And thereafter, yes, you would probably learn a lot of things. Then, Sayan, Komal, would you like to talk about operations and supply chain management if that intersects with your background? Otherwise, we can.
It doesn't, but those are just like additional subjects. Like if you want to build a career in operations or supply chain, आप उसके subject उठाइए second year. And it can help you get jobs in that, especially even in consulting. In Deloitte, we have a supply chain arm where professionals do strategy and ops consulting for supply chain problems of the companies.
Right.
You have enough opportunities in that area as well. In fact, it's a very
it's actually
large area. Yeah. So you will have ample of opportunities there if you pick the relevant subjects.
Then Anil Kumar Ray, he's from Bihar. How to prepare for VARC? Anil एक काम करते हैं, इसका बहुत detailed answer तुझे वैसे भी दे ही देंगे. यहाँ बहुत सारे sessions भी लिए हैं यार हमने. तो स्पेसिफिकली ना आप अलग अलग, जैसे हर रोज 12 बजे इस चैनल पे आपको इंग्लिश का एक सेशन मिलता है एवरी डे एट 12. मैं ले रहा हूँ, सावित्री मैम ले रहे होंगे, सनूजम सर इसके अलावा आपके लिए वो एडिटोरियल का एनालिसिस सुबह लेकर के आते हैं. सो प्लेंटी ऑफ सेशंस हैपनिंग. ऐप पे मैं कल एक सीरीज शुरू कर रहा हूँ 3:30 where I talk about grammar tomorrow and then I talk about vocab a day after VARC. वो रोज उसमें सेशंस में आओ यार, बहुत अच्छे से डिटेल में बता देंगे. And then there are people who still have concerns about my academic score is not too good. I don't have any work experience. Do I have a chance to get into an IIM? So Prachika, this is for you from Komal. So Komal.
So academic scores are not good.
No work experience. Can she get into an IIM?
She can. I mean, it's going to be a little harder for her, to be honest. जो सच है वो कहा जाएगा. But because जब आपका score आता है तो वो बहुत ही objective parameters पे होता है. So you will have to track it at some level. या तो आपका CAT का score बहुत high हो, या फिर आप थोड़ा एक्सपीरियंस लो, उसके बाद आप उसके पॉइंट्स ऐड करो. Whatever it is, it is going to be little challenging, but it is not something that can stop you from not doing an MBA. You can crack it based on all the efforts you put in. Like I said, right, when I did, मैं कानपुर यूनिवर्सिटी से हूँ. कानपुर यूनिवर्सिटी में my percentage 74 75 was one of the highest in, like I am the topper in BSc area in that university and so many colleges. But when it goes to that scale, it doesn't sound that great. Yeah, 10 12 90 90 and this is like 70. How? Right? So that is going to affect you, but it's not going to stop you.
Atish, a short answer for your question. Yeah, for getting a call, no. For getting selected, yes. Praneeth has asked this question twice. Is Arun Sharma book enough to crack? See, Praneeth, whether you are taking a coaching or not, whether you're doing self-study or not, whether you're using NCRT or some other books or not, at the end of the day, please make sure that you start writing mocks regularly. If you are performing well in mock exams, then your preparation is moving along the right direction. If you're not performing well in those mock exams, then it means that you need to change your strategy. Then the books that you're reading or the kind of effort that you're putting in, you need to go ahead and look back at it once again, see, tinker with it. Then what else? Should we go for an internship to get selected in IIM? I think, and other people who are asking about profiles, etc. Are they hobby, interest, internships? If you have these things, it's a positive. If you do not have these things, it is not a negative. ऐसा नहीं है कि नहीं होगा तो select नहीं होगे, होगा तो you'd have some new things to talk about. Right, then Prithvish, I've done an MBA in environment. Can I do a second MBA from IIM? Yes. If you think that 2 more years are going to help you in moving towards your long-term career objectives, why not? Then Legend X has interview regarding IIM. They're like very cryptic, pithy message, huh? Interview regarding IIM. So feel free to take it whichever way you want to, Komal.
Interview regarding IIM. So
my guess is he wants to know what all happens in the interviews there, how to prepare best for it.
Yeah, for interviews, you have to prepare आप कौन हैं, right? There's a simple thing. आपके life के जो पड़ाव में, whatever you have done, why you have done those things, what you really want to do, and if you have done any mistakes, acknowledge them, right? Explain it. Say for example, अभी हमने बात की कि 2 साल का coding experience है and I want to do marketing. So just say like, after engineering, it was a natural course where I got placed in Infosys or TCS, and as I got started in coding projects. But in because of journey, I realized that I'm more attracted towards marketing, right? And that's how I developed my inclination. I started reading up about these things. I saw a couple of ads. I analyzed these case studies. So you build an answer accordingly. So what I'm saying is, for all your interviews, you have to understand whatever you have done, why you have done those things, acknowledge your mistakes, and justify your decisions. That's going to help you to nail the interview.
Komal, do you remember the questions that were asked from you in your IML interview? Or the IIM Bangalore interview? Any of those interviews that you recall?
Yeah, a lot of questions. So tell me something about yourself is okay. I asked why I did my graduation from DBS Kanpur. Well, because my scores were good and I could have easily gone to DU. So I was asked to justify that. Then I was also asked why MBA, BSc and MBA. So I had to tell that story that, my family, that's how they thought. And, it took me time to decide and put my foot down and say what I wanted. So all those explanations will come up. And if you've not thought about those things, you will, get lost in the interview. So, and then it's interesting, Vikrant, I had not thought about, there were so many questions they asked me about.
Let's keep them for some other day again. That'll give you time to think through. Let's just take one last question, which I think is an amazing question for wrapping it up for the day. Vivek has a question that I think is a good question to at least answer. What should be our attitude to be a great MBA aspirant?
I'll say you should just be persistent, never give up. That's
just to dig deep into Komal's earlier answer, self-belief.
Yes.
And
don't focus on the deterrence. Don't think what people are saying. Don't think. A lot of questions were asked कि ये कितना difficult है. Why are you even assessing it, यार? मतलब अगर घर पे खाना नहीं है और रोटी चाहिए तो रोटी लाना कितना भी difficult हो, you will get the roti. Like that. So if you have to crack it, you have to crack it. And just even if you suppose less, assess where you are making a mistake, try to find a solution and just move on with it.
वो चक दे वाला impact अभी तक चल रहा है ना? जिद है तो जिद है जी, हाँ? So that's a wonderful suggestion, yaar. Thanks a lot for joining us, Komal. All of you watching, if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. It somehow seems that we haven't have enough of you today. So maybe some other day when you're able to take out some time, we can probably try and see if we can meet again and then continue this discussion from here. It's absolutely lovely having you. And bhai, chak de India wala ringtone laga lo. And you can have a vision wall where you can put up stuff that motivates you and make sure that you make yourself and everyone else proud. Thank you once again, Komal. I hope that all the health issues that your family members are facing, they get resolved at the earliest. And we both of us, we wish a lot of happiness and health to you and every member in your family. Stay safe and work very, very, very hard. Huh? Abhi padna hai, fir sona hai, fir utke padna. That's what we want you to do, basically. Right? So thank you, Komal, once again. Take care. Have a nice evening. And everyone else, see you guys soon. If you, I could see there are a lot of other questions that you asked, but we could not answer them today. Please join a Telegram group. The people that in the team who are at the back end, yeah, please share the link of the Telegram group once again. You can ask the questions there. You can tag me. My name is Vikrant. You can tag me and that will lead to a faster response. So please do that. And we would love to answer every question, address every query. Right? So thanks a lot. Don't forget to like the video before you go. Have a nice evening. See you.
Thank you. Bye.